Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining this webinar where you signed up to hear more about the reasons why to study in the Netherlands, and especially at one of the best universities of the Netherlands, Tio University of Applied Sciences. And before we go over to the two speakers that we have lined up for you, I'd like to briefly explain to you how this works. My name is Luc Mulling. I'm the moderator of this session, and I'm here to help basically in any case of any problem there might be, but also regarding the questions and the interactions that you can have. So this is an interactive session. For the people that are joining live, you can write your questions at the left bottom. You see a panel Q&A. You can take advantage of that. We do expect a larger audience, so I would like to say maybe wait with some of your questions until somewhat further in the presentation, because they might be taken care of. But of course, do let us know if you want to know something. And we already have received questions from you anyway, so we will read some of those out as well. For the people that join and watch this recording later on demand, you can still write your questions. So if you're watching this even as a recording, take advantage, write your questions in the panel as indicated, but then of course we will deal with them later. Tio University will come back to you. What else do you see on the screen? Well, you have some sharing options. If you feel this was a great session, go ahead, share it on your social media if you like. But also, more importantly for you, there's a resource list. So on the right top, you see some links, useful links to the website of Tio University, and you can check that out. But I would like to say do that later, because again, most of it might already be taken care of in the presentation that is set up for you. And that's why, without further ado, I'd like to go over to the presenters, as we have two presenters, both Sophie de Weert as a student and Frank Moerdijk, who's the lecturer of marketing, but he will introduce himself. So I'd like to go over briefly to both and wish you good luck with this session. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Welcome at this session from Tio. As stated by Luc, I'm the teacher or lecturer, Frank Moerdijk, saturated in marketing, multiple years in corporate environment. MasterCard, the credit card company, Vodafone, the telco company, Capgemini as a company in consulting, consulting in companies like, for instance, ABN AMRO Bank, well-known part. But after some time, you don't mind trying to transfer your information to students, like I decided to do so. My expertise is on marketing, market analysis, marketing management, strategic marketing. And next to being a lecturer in marketing, I'm also one of the selected thesis coaches. So I also coach, support students with the graduation process and writing their final thesis, graduating for Tio. And I'm also, hopefully this year as well, but maybe not going to happen, but being a guest lecturer at some of the universities that Tio partners with all around Europe, and some instances also other parts of the world. That's about my story. Maybe Sophie, you'd like to take the floor for your introduction?
Yes, Frank, thank you. So my name is Sophie. I'm currently in my last year of the study program International Tourism Management here in Tio Amsterdam. So that is the location I'm studying at. And I'm in my final stage of the study program, which means I'm working on my final thesis. And after that, I hope to, of course, obtain my bachelor program and bachelor of arts anytime soon. So during this session, as a student, I will also tell you a bit more about the different study programs and what life at Tio actually looks like. So that later on, but first I will give back the word to Frank.
Okay, well, the challenge is quite a lot of slides. I will take the first part of it, around 20 slides. I'll briefly browse you through 60 in total. We like to give students the floor, so Sophie will get the major part in the middle, and I will finalize the presentation as well in the end. So, and there's room for questions, as stated by Luc. Post them in the chat. That's the best way for us to look at the questions and answer them properly. So let's get started with the first slide. Not this one, I have to click this one. So yeah, it's about the summary, more or less, or content. This is about the best bachelor program in the programs that we run, and we discuss as well the TIO concept. So don't memorize anything on this one. It'll all be touched in the next couple of slides. Talking about TIO, talking about the Netherlands, it's obvious that I assume that the majority of people attending the presentation knows about the Netherlands, obviously. Small country with a, well, as far as we know, big impact around the world. But this is where we're located. So we're looking at Europe, and almost in one of the center points of Europe, we're located. Very good for servicing our environment. Netherlands, a little bit closer look at the Netherlands. So if you get to the Netherlands, and being in the Netherlands, you're really in the middle of some of the most important cities and countries in Europe, obviously. Only a couple of hours, either by plane, train, or even automobile, easily approachable, like Berlin to the east and London to the west. So interesting to be in the Netherlands and not be in one of those cities, but just being close to all these important cities. The Netherlands, bordering to, like this is interesting picture of the country itself, but bordering to the east to Germany, bordering to the south to Belgium, and across the North Sea we have the UK. So we're very important countries where we closely work together with as a country in general, but also TIO as a university. Okay, getting to the Netherlands, what do you expect? I imagine I give also some courses on consumer behavior, instinct to ask my clients, so what do you think? What is your perception? What's your mood board if you think about the Netherlands? This is a typical, let's say, a typical mood board. Although for sure, no, we don't wear wooden shoes. We don't, not all day long for sure. So. And yes, I like cheese, and I think the majority of Dutch people like cheese, but we don't eat cheese in kilograms per week, obviously. But we like it a lot. Bicycles. There are more bicycles in the Netherlands than people living in the Netherlands. That's really something very interesting to see. So getting to the Netherlands, you'll be surprised about what the Dutch do with bikes as well. Okay, next step. So any things about the Netherlands? Okay, it's true, but there's a lot more to tell, obviously. Like for instance, okay, knowing these brands. I do think the majority of people nowadays traveling cannot go around booking.com. So that's a very important brand nowadays. It originates from the Netherlands. But if you look at older ones like Shell, gas company, or the gasoline company, Philips, the domestic appliances one, very important brands originating from the Netherlands as well. And of course, okay, maybe I should not mention that directly, but Heineken, one of the biggest brands in the Netherlands, or sorry, in the world, obviously. So that's a very important brand. And okay, what's interesting about this one, some of these companies I mentioned are benefiting a lot, like Philips, from a lot of technology that was brought to the market. And don't forget that some of these ones, like Bluetooth, very important. But even more important, like Wi-Fi or Wi-Fi, very important, invented here in the Netherlands and brought to the market in the Netherlands. So we're not just a small country in geographical sense, but a big country in technological sense. We think. And most likely we do know. Okay, looking at it from a little bit smaller perspective, looking at it from a more direct perspective, if being a student coming to the Netherlands, what do you get? You get a lot of other students as well from all countries all around the world, not just to TU obviously, but we have very, very famous university all around the Netherlands. So more than 100,000 international students. And what's very interesting for you as well to know is that we are the country ranked the first place in English proficiency. Maybe not about my English though, but in general Dutch, it's easy to get around in the Netherlands with your English. So almost everybody speaks English sufficiently enough to get you around to help you. It's very interesting to know, very, very helpful to know as well. So what's better than looking at listening to words? For me, it's just seeing the story told by someone in the Netherlands as well. So that's a little video that we're going to show you now.
Do you want to study in Holland? Of course you want to study in Holland. The next 100 seconds will definitely convince you. All right. Let's go. Study in Holland. Every year, many international students undergo the Dutch experience. But what does this mean? What makes studying in Holland so great? Holland is really internationally oriented. I mean, where else would you find students from over 160 different countries? 1 out of 10 students is an international student. Did you know that we have more than 2,100 English talk programs? Pretty good, right? You know what's even better? The quality of our education. You won't find this quality of education at such an affordable rate anywhere else. The open-mindedness of the Dutch people is reflected in the way we educate. It's in the way we teach, the way we interact, in the way we work together. Once you're done studying here, Holland offers a ton of opportunities for entrepreneurs and job seekers. Holland is the home of some of the world's biggest multinationals, such as Philips, Shell, and many more. We even have a special 1-year program for you to get employed called Orientation Year. You can be part of the Holland Alumni Network for everyone who had the Dutch experience. How much time do I have left? What? 30 seconds? Well, that's enough time for some facts. Dutch people are the best non-native English speakers in the world. Holland is also one of the happiest and safest countries, and our educational institutions rank among the world's top 2%. But there's more to Holland. Holland is creative, high-tech, diverse, innovative, nicely located, exciting, has a unique cuisine and a rich history. We've got a unique culture and very welcoming people. Just barely made it. So now you know why you should study in Holland.
Wow, that's great. I like this video. Why you should study in Holland. We'll discuss that one later on. But where should you study in the Netherlands? At Tio, obviously. Talking about Tio, we have spread around the Netherlands. 5 locations: Amsterdam, Rotterdam, probably very well known, Utrecht, mentioned one of the best cities to visit by TripAdvisor, for instance, Eindhoven down south, and Hengelo close to the German border. Great cities to go to, cities with more many of the programs that Tio runs also given in English language courses. So that's a place to go. But about the courses itself, Sophie will discuss obviously. So I'll drag you through the cities now. Amsterdam, probably well known. Canals, culture as well a lot. We're located in Amsterdam as well. Next thing is Eindhoven. So Eindhoven, breeding ground for innovation. Philips is located out there, but maybe Philips is not the most well-known company nowadays. It's ASML as well, making all the chips that all of us are facilitating in our daily life. Very important city, very important industry, and very important location for Tio to be there as well. Hengelo, close to the German border, second largest city in that region, close to Enschede, very well-known town as well. A great environment, a little bit out of the urban hassle of Amsterdam and Rotterdam, but a great place to study as well. Rotterdam, sublime modern architecture, like if you like, so going to the older town of Amsterdam or going to the great modern architecture of Rotterdam, down-to-earth mentality, multicultural hub as well, and a great environment for industrial internship places as well in Rotterdam. And last but not least, not particularly because I'm lecturing in Utrecht though, but Utrecht is a really fine town with the largest student population in the Netherlands. Really a great town to live, to spend your time, to combine work and study and just to live around. Great place to be. But all the other places are great as well. Okay. So what to expect? What is Tio? So I'd like to emphasize some of them, not all of them, but a very, very small scale personal approach we have. Means that, okay, it looked like we were prepared for the Corona problems prior to getting hit by Corona because we have small classes. We know how to properly fill our classrooms. And with that stated, we switched easily over from being at school, from going online and back from online going to school again. It was as for us as lecturers, it looked like it was really properly prepared. But the teachers at Tio are all saturated people coming from corporate environments, well-trained, and also bringing a lot of entrepreneurial atmosphere and entrepreneurial attitude to the classrooms. Okay, due to the fact that the programs we run are all, well, business-based, obviously, or international tourism is also business-based. And all this together makes states that we are considered an excellent school, not just our excellent university, not by ourselves, obviously by ourselves as well. We are proud to work for Tio, but it's also from a very objective and neutral perspective, indicated by tests, by inquiries that we'll discuss later on as well. Okay, next slide. It's about where do all these students come from the far west, South America, but also from the far east, Canada, Taiwan, Thailand. I've had students from all over town in the last couple of years, welcoming them in my classes and having a great time talking about marketing in their countries and marketing in the country that you're visiting if you go to Tio in the Netherlands. Great time, great environment, and a great time these students have with fellow students from all over the world. So, last slide that I prior to handing over to Sophie, or last part is why Tio, and it's also another small animation.
Ik ben Larissa.
Oké, let's go. Laten we gaan.
Kom maar studeren bij Tio.
My name is Zoe Gonzalez. I'm from San Diego, California.
Hi, my name is Larissa. I'm from Brazil.
I'm Zoito. I'm from Vietnam and France.
I chose to come to Tio to really enhance my education.
It's a small school.
It's really different as well from Brazil. The classes are really small, so you actually know the teacher. They worry about whether you're learning it or not. And we have a lot of practical classes as well, so that's amazing.
And get a new international perspective on hospitality.
I really like the teacher, my finance teacher.
The teachers are really experienced. All of them, they have like their own business or they work somewhere else. So it's good because we actually see the view from the market, not just like the books.
Like the way they inspire us, because they are lecturer, maybe like from other company, they have experience, so that's really good.
The school really teaches us the skills we need.
Wow, they're very direct to you.
They're super funny.
They just talk whatever they want.
Super friendly.
But you get used to, and after a time you know that it's not that they're being rude or anything, it's just the way they speak.
They're willing to help you.
They just tell you right away.
The Dutch people is the best person in European I like, even more than French. Bitterballen, the first time I tried bitterballen, it's really small. When you hold it, it's not really too hot, but inside is really hot. It's super good. Super croquette as well.
I was looking for countries that I know the language, so either Spanish or English. But then I found out that in the Netherlands, most of all the people speak English, so that wouldn't be an issue.
When I go home after Tio, I'm going to take home all the knowledge and connections I've made with international students. These are my friends and family for the rest of my career.
Yeah, I love it.
Yes, I really like it here.
So this is the part where I think Sophie is taking over. Correct, Sophie?
Yes, that's correct. Thank you, Frank.
Okay.
So yes, from this moment onwards, I will present the different study programs that you can find here at Tio University. And of course, I have done international tourism management, which is just one of the study programs, but I've got many friends throughout all the different programs, and I would love to introduce those to you as well. So here you can find an overview of the different Tio bachelor programs available. And as you can see, we have 7 different bachelor programs, of which 4 are taught fully in English. And those are Hotel and Event Management, so the hospitality related program. International Tourism Management, so as the name suggests, all about international tourism, so think of travel agencies, for instance. We have Commerce, Entrepreneurship and Organizations, which is more related to the commercial side of business. And then lastly, we also have International Business Management. Well, and all of these programs are taught fully in English. And after your study program, you can also choose to continue studying at TIO and to do your Master of Business Administration. And all these 5 programs I will explain to you in more detail in the next couple of slides. Also good to know is that at TIO, we offer the opportunity to do your bachelor's degree not in 4 years, but in 3 years. So we offer the option of accelerated studying. And this means that you can obtain your bachelor program in 3 years. And that is actually, well, 1 year faster than usually is the case. And me, myself, I've also chosen this 3-year program. It's very intense. I shall not lie about that. But I think it's a very big asset as I can start working earlier or I can start continuing doing a master's program, for instance. But of course, there's also a benefit of the 4 years program, and that is that you can do the Grand International Tour, which means that you will study abroad at one of our partner universities for 2 semesters. So that is also an option. Besides the full bachelor's degree, you can also choose to do your associate degree, which is somewhere between getting the bachelor's degree and a vocational education. So what you get then is the associate diploma after you have finalized the first 2 years of the program. And here you have a short overview of what the program then actually looks like. I'm not going to explain this in too much detail, but as you can see, in the summer, you're doing your internships, which means that you have a very tight schedule, but that's also the reason that you can do it and finalize it in 3 years. On the screen, you can see a couple of examples of requirements for foreign students. It should at least be an equivalent to higher general secondary education, for instance, if you want to start with your bachelor program. But I'm not going to explain all of the different examples in too much detail, as we have watchers and viewers tuning in from all over the world today. But on the screen, you can see a couple of examples. But now it's time to dive deeper into the different study programs we have to offer. Well, first of all, we have hotel and event management. And as you might have already guessed, this is all about hotel management. So think of the hospitality industry and working in bigger hotels. Our other program, International Tourism Management, is related to this. It's also part of the tourism industry. But in this case, you should think more of airlines, of tour operators, travel agencies, cruise lines, for instance. And this you'll learn during the domain international tourism. But as you can see, both programs also offer plenty of opportunities to broaden yourself. And this is being done so that you have all the necessary management skills to start working in whatever industry you like. So think, for instance, also of international management and intercultural communication. So you should see it as a broad management program with a specialization into either hotel management or international tourism. And the same thing actually applies to our 2 business programs. We have IBM, which is the International Business Management Program. So you'll learn more, for instance, about international management and the financial industry. But if you choose for the commercial side of business, so that is the other program we have to offer, you will learn more about, for instance, e-commerce, marketing, and sales. But once again, you see that both programs contain different domains that are shared in common, and these ensure that you again have all the necessary management skills. Well, one thing that all of the programs share in common is that at TIO we believe in learning by doing. So what you can see in this slide is that if you look at the division of the time spent during your bachelor, almost 80% of it is practical. So you will do a lot of different projects, many hands-on subjects. You have your minor, which is also very hands-on, your internships, of course, and this really means that we really learn by putting our skills into practice and not necessarily just by reading from books, listening to what your teacher has to say and writing summaries. It's more about putting everything you have learned so far into practice and really experiencing. And I think this has really prepared me to start working in a couple of months' time in the industry. And to give you a bit of a better idea of what that looks like, this hands-on mentality, we have a video for you coming up.
Learning by doing is the way students learn and develop their skills at TIO. The bachelor programs at this private University of Applied Sciences have a project-based setup. A good example is the Finance Week. This is an important project of the Bachelor International Business Management. In this year's edition, students dive into the world of startups.
The Finance Week teaches us how to help startups, how to assess the value of startups, and how to sell them to potential investors.
And meet the winners of the Tio e-commerce week for students, commerce, entrepreneurship and organizations. The assignment of this week was a real-life case for G-Star.
I think it's very important to incorporate students with e-commerce, make them enthusiastic about the industry.
The Hotel and Event Week is one of the most important and fun projects for students, hotel and event management.
This week, all students from Amsterdam and Utrecht doing the English course are taking over Stay OK Hostel and we're creating it into a 4-star hotel.
I love everything about it, and these classes are more practical than I could imagine.
I never learned that much in one semester.
When you study international tourism management, projects like incentive and event travel and tour operating are on the program.
They learn to create a complete incentive trip, to listen to customers and think what the customer would like to do.
And the winners will actually go on their own trip. Not only the international tourism students get to travel a lot. During all the bachelor programs at Tio, several international study trips are scheduled.
I'm here actually in Riga today on a study trip to visit multiple companies and also to have fun in the city.
So by choosing to study at Tio, you will gain a lot of international experience.
So yes, this whole learning by doing mentality also means that you will need many contact hours. On average, we have between 24 and 26 contact hours per week, and nationwide comparing that, it is a lot higher. So yes, we have to be in class relatively often, but that doesn't mean that we don't have any time left to have fun with your friends, or in your case, to also explore the Netherlands. And in fact, thanks to these many contact hours, you also really get the chance to prepare yourself very well for all these different projects that were just shown in the movie. And one of the examples of the learning by doing mentality is the internship. And at Tio, you do not get to do only one internship, but actually you can do 3 of those. So 2 regular internships and 1 at the end, which is your final thesis internship. And I think this is one of the most educational and fun experiences during your study at Tio. What you will do is you will start working for a company for 3 months in a row during your summer holiday, and this company can be any company of your choice. Also, you get to choose the type of function that you want to be in, and the best part of it is that you get to choose the destination. Yes, international tourism students, they generally know where to go. So me too. In my second year, I stayed here in the Netherlands and I worked for a bigger tour operator to really learn everything and all the essentials. But the year before that, I went to Mauritius. And for those of you who are not really familiar, it's a very nice, pearly white, beachy ocean island with swaying palm trees in the middle of the Indian Ocean. It's absolutely amazing. So you can imagine me having a very hard time there, living there for 3 months and doing my internship. But yeah, I had the time of my life, but I also learned a lot. So this is really an important component of your study program at Tio. So here you have a couple of examples of companies that you could start working for during your internship. Of course, you can stay in the Netherlands and work for instance, the Rabobank or ING or maybe Philips, as we just saw, is one of the bigger national or multinational companies located here in the Netherlands. Or you can, of course, choose to also go abroad and maybe work for bigger companies like Coca-Cola, or maybe you would love to work for Apple, who knows? So many different options again. In fact, one of these components on the screen should be done abroad. So you can choose to do 1 or 2 of your internships abroad. You can do your final thesis assignment in another country, or you can choose and select the minor study abroad, about which I will tell a bit more later on. And where you will be going, that's completely up to you. We have seen students of Tio going everywhere. So from Toronto to Santiago in Chile, we have students in Australia, or that very teeny tiny dot middle of the Indian Ocean, that's where Mauritius is. Literally, the world is your oyster. And to emphasize that once again, we have another video for you coming up now.
Yes, the Netherlands is a great country to study, that's for sure. Tio, one of the best universities of applied sciences of the Netherlands, offers studies in international tourism management, hotel and event management, commerce, entrepreneurship and organizations, and international business management. When you consider to study abroad, you will most likely have a global mindset. With this international focus, you will feel at home at Tio. You will get the opportunity to visit many countries and cultures during your study period. Part of every program at Tio is an internship at a company and in a country of your choice.
I am Jos Hexpoor and I'm doing an internship at a web design agency in Bangkok.
Rinske is active at the marketing, PR and e-commerce department of Magashoni in New York.
I'm actually responsible for everything what's behind the website.
I'm Flip Vermeer. I'm the hospitality manager of Dream Village.
Flip chose for an internship in the Netherlands, where he wants to develop his event management skills in the festival world.
I coordinate everything that's happening here.
Today we're gonna do a whale watch tour. I saw this guy guiding 2 years ago. I was like, that is what I want to do, and then Tio gave me the opportunity to go, and here I am, yeah.
Internships in New York, Bangkok or Iceland. Everything is possible. The choice is yours.
So yes, before the video, I told you a bit more about the minor study abroad, and that's only one of the different minor options you can choose from. Your minor is actually part of your study program, during which you can broaden or deepen yourself. So it's really up to your choice what you want to specialize in. So maybe you're interested in digital marketing, or you want to really start your own company during the minor entrepreneurship. Or you can choose to do your minor study abroad, which means that you will study at a partner university of Tio, which can be worldwide. So it's really up to you, and you can choose whatever minor you like best. And then if everything went well, after 3 or 4 years, you will be up to your final thesis. And that is a final project of 5 months, during which you will conduct a research for a company of your choice. So it looks like an internship, but you're mainly focused on doing and really conducting a proper research about which you need to write a thesis, which you will need to present and defend for a certified committee. And after that, if you have done this well, you will be granted your bachelor program and your bachelor diploma. And as you can see, this has actually always been quite successful at Tio. More than 70% of our students, they graduate within the set time of the study program, which is much higher compared to the nationwide average. And after that, of course, you can directly start to choose working, but maybe you want to continue studying, and perhaps you're interested in international marketing, or maybe you want to learn more about management and leadership. So again, many different opportunities to choose from. And one of those opportunities is our very own Management of Business Administration, so the MBA program at Tio. It is brand new, and the unique aspect of this MBA is that there is no work experience needed and no GMAT. And for those of you who are not really familiar with GMAT just yet, this is a very difficult, test that you need to take for many MBAs in many different countries at universities. But at Tio, this is not necessary. So you can be admitted without the GMAT and also without any work experience. And this MBA really offers you the opportunity to deepen and expand your knowledge, which is done through different study components. You have your core program, your development program, and one specialization program that you can choose from. So again, it is up to you what you like and what you would like to specialize yourself in. And you could, for instance, choose for international management. But perhaps you're also more interested in the hospitality industry, and for instance, you did the business program before, so you choose hospitality, or maybe even commercial management. So once again, many different options to choose from, and within 1 year, you may have your MBA in the pocket. But if you would like to go abroad again, that's also possible, as Tio has many different partner universities. And here you can see a map. You can see from Riga, which Frank has been to, Santiago. We have Taichung, for instance. So again, many different opportunities to go explore the world. And as you can see, here is a list of different partner universities. So this is something very interesting. If you would like to, for instance, also study at the Robert Gordon University, there is this opportunity. And thanks to the different collaborations that Tio actually has with these partner universities, we can help you find a right position at one of your universities if you wish. And that is actually it about the different study programs, but I would also like to share with you a bit more about what it is like to study at Tio as a student. And one of the most important aspects of Tio then is the fact that at Tio you are not just a number. And this is really because we're small scaled. On average, we have only 11 students in one classroom. Especially during these times of COVID-19, this is really a benefit as all of the classes can be continued physically. And if I look at my own classroom, we were just with only 7 students. So this is it's very small, but because of this, also very personal. And this is also reflected in the fact that, at the study locations, the teachers know you by name, the campus managers know you by name. So, for instance, Martijn Naberman, he's the campus manager of Tio in Amsterdam. He would always wish me, good morning, for instance, or if I was dressed up in suit into Nu de Viel, for instance, he would always ask me, do you have a presentation coming up? Well, good luck. And this really made me feel at home at the campus. And I think this is also one of the reasons that I chose for Tio at that point of time. Also, you will be assigned a personal study coach, and he or she will be there to guide you through your study program. For instance, during midterm study progress reports, you can have many conversations with him or her, and he or she will help you if you need, for instance, extra assistance. Besides this, we also, of course, have all the necessary IT facilities. So a good Wi-Fi network, which we just learned is a Dutch invention. And of course, we also have our own application with your schedule, with your grades, but it also gives you push messages. So for instance, if your class is being discontinued, you get a message in front of, so that you can just turn around and sleep in a little longer. And studying, of course, is not only about, working hard and reading books. It is also about having fun and broadening your network. And I think this is really what our student association Cognatio is for. And to give you a bit of an idea of what that looks like, we have this video.
When you think of an enjoyable study program and a good school, you actually immediately think of a sociable student society. Tio has such a student society. Cognatio. Cognatio is a national student society. Over 500 students at 5 Tio campuses are members. As a member of Cognatio, you get access to all kinds of activities that make your time as a student even more fun. For example, Cognatio organizes different activities, parties and excursions all year round. Cognatio's Big Six include introduction days in the Belgian Ardennes, a beach party at, for example, Bloomingdale Beach Club, an annual gala, a 10-day winter sports trip to Kirchberg or Les Deux Alpes, for example, Destination Unknown, where you travel to an unknown destination by bus, and the Year Party, with big artists like Sam Felt and the Party Squad. In addition to national events, Cognatio also organizes local activities at the locations, such as welcome days. Cognatio does not engage in initiation. The motto is no pressure, just enjoy. You forge lifelong friendships and build an extensive network at Cognatio. Cognatio helps you get the most out of your time as a student.
So to wrap up everything I've said so far, I think Tio really stands for working hard. It's a lot of work, a lot of contact hours, but as everybody knows each other, there is a very safe environment and a very good atmosphere, and in which people just motivate each other to continue working hard and to eventually obtain that bachelor's degree. And then I give back the word to Frank.
Thank you, Sophie. Yeah, it's a sad thing to see this picture, because it was sale. It was supposed to be sale this summer, And yes, we also had quite some students working at SAIL, either doing an internship at SAIL, and I even knew a student who planned her internship at the SAIL organization, and she did, and she graduated perfectly. But preferably, it would have been a real life event. But now she switched, and we helped her a lot with it. But SAIL is one of the biggest events that we have in the Netherlands, and it's well known all over the world. It's a typical example of how TIO as a national organization is working together with international events. I think it's really great. If I had to go back 35 years ago, would have been an interesting study environment to enroll in, obviously. But now back to the more administrative part of it. Like I said, national presence. We have a national presence. Means that we're not just bound to one big city in the Netherlands with a lot of students. No, we're spread all over the Netherlands, with the benefit of being known in regions, being known by multiple companies all around the Netherlands, having all kinds of opportunities with these companies, internships, not just all around the world, but also all around the Netherlands. It has a great impact. We have great staff making a great impact. We have multiple teachers giving multiple lessons, and also coverage and working closely together as colleagues amongst each other, bringing all kinds of additional insights, not just marketing from one perspective, marketing maybe from multiple perspectives. So we have no single point of failures with that stated. So, and it brings a great quality assurance. Our lessons always be there. They won't be left out, will be replaced or maybe taken over another week, but you'll get what you invest in TIO. So let's say a branding of TIO, more from the insights perspective, we have teachers from all over the industry, and what I like the most, obviously, as a marketeer, is that we also cherish the student opinion. We really listen to the students. We have student organizations, student gatherings together with the staff, asking, so what was good, what can be improved. So, and we really put effort in getting these things picked up and implemented. Teachers from the industry, okay, knowing about what not just the teachers that have been in the industry, but still are in the industry that they're coming from and that they're teaching about. A majority of teachers have a master degree in any particular field, not just a majority, but the vast majority, like almost ranging. I think in Utrecht it's about 95%. And it all relates to the fact that, okay, these students really want to come, really want to listen to stories. We have a great attendance in classes, and it's all registered. We know, we help you, we have study coaches helping you. And I put a lot of effort in getting to know all the students as soon as possible, so you can address all the ones that come to class. You listen to them, ask about potential problems, ask about additional help that's needed. So I really love working for TIO with that stated. No one's pointing a gun at me at this moment in time, but it's really the fact. And I really love working together with students like Sophie as well. So it's great. For higher education, so how do we rank? Well, something to be proud of, not just me on my own, but the whole organization. We have been ranked one of the best or the best higher education program for multiple years, consecutive years, for 9 or 10 years in a row, on hotel management, on business management, international business management, tourism, international tourism. So it's all laid out in the catalogs that you can get if you visit us physically. We hand out these catalogs which state the programs and how we rank amongst our competitors as well. Great way to be, and it's an investment. Okay, we don't skip away from that, but it's an investment for your future. Thinking about how many years you have to work. 20,000 euros for an annual tuition fee. Minor enrollment, obviously, and depending on the progress you make, and depending on the extension you might need in your 4th year. A limited amount of classes, obviously, but there's still some support. There's quite some support, for instance, on your thesis or on additional courses that you need to finalize. So that might be a limited amount of money for a limited amount of investment. But it incorporates books, syllabi, it incorporates projects, study trips as well. But if you go abroad for an internship, then we cannot incorporate upfront what costs are involved in. be aware of this one. Installment, it's affordable to everyone. You don't have to pay everything up front. It can be, it might bring some discount. You can also have all these installments spread out in 12 equal parts. And you get some additional costs, or we get some additional work to do, some additional costs as well. And anything in between, like 7 installments for the year. An important thing to know as well is that we have a package fee for non-EU students. It's more or less a mandatory thing from the government. So we as the Netherlands have to be sure that you will be fit for a stay for at least a year in the Netherlands. So you pay this up front for the first year, and we do help you. So we help you with a visa. It's paid for in this incorporated in this package fee. We help you with housing, which can be a really burdensome thing in all these cities. A lot of students go to universities, also Tio University. So we help you with we supply you housing in the first year. There's also liability insurance covered, obviously, and a deposit, which means that it's a mandatory amount of money, and there's also some additional money for whatever kind of reasons that needs to be used during this first year. And there's an airport pickup. You're allowed to travel by air. There's an airport pickup as well included in all this. So we pick you up and we service you for the first full year. Oh, here we go. Another thing that you can apply for, being a student with a proper amount of confidence, why not apply for a scholarship? So you have a super talent scholarship, and you can apply for more than 10,000 euros per student. You need to hand over some outstanding study results, obviously. You need to be able to show that your IELTS score, that's English proficiency score, is a grade 7 or higher. You have to obviously motivate the fact why you want to apply for it. You have you have 2 levels: the super talent scholarship and the Tio talent scholarship. Still quite a substantial amount of investment that you can put back. It's all guided through the international office. So why not try to find out whether you are eligible for getting this scholarship rewarded to you. The process. Imagine, I hope, I assume you are interested. So you pick and choose a program, you read a little bit more about it, you visit the website, find out where your interests lie, and you choose a program. Apply. You can apply online. Don't make it more difficult than just applying online. You submit all the information you need to submit. We find out whether you're eligible, and we accept we give you an offer, and you accept the offer. So that's a thing for EU students, and then it's more or less done. Nothing more than that. You don't have to show up, dressed up, apply for, do any kind of particular presentation whatsoever. That's all incorporated in the process that can be done online. Good to know in COVID times. For non-EU students, there's some additional requirements, like on paying the invoice you get for the package fee. And we will start a visa procedure to make you eligible to come over to the Netherlands and follow the study here. Nothing more than this, but it's something that it's very good to know. All these steps will be taken in this order. Okay, the Tio concept. As I stated, I'm not going to listen to make you listen to all of these, but it's about private education accessible to everyone. That's how we present it. It's an investment for the future. It's lectures that come from the industry, makes it a very good school. We have been rewarded that multiple times. You acquire a high quality degree with options to work, to follow internships in high quality companies all around the Netherlands, all around the world. So with that stated, you get a high quality degree. It can bring you further on. Maybe go for master courses further on, or just work around places where you really like to work. So small scale and very personal, and not to mention the least is the excellent education environment. Let's see. What's the administrative thing? Need for any additional information? Visit the website tio.nl/en for English language. You can send emails to the international office at tio.nl. You can follow us, obviously. Hey, we're a modern school, Facebook and Instagram. I use it in my classes as well a lot. Facebook and Instagram. Find it out. You can, if you like to have a live person, give us a call and find out the answers about the questions that you might have, or even post questions on the chat. So we're more than willing to answer everything that's that's post these days, these moments. So we can, and maybe you'd like to think about some questions and post them later on, but these are the things that you need to know. I think this is the last slide about Tio. And thanks, Sophie, for your part of the presentation. And now we're up to you and me, and maybe some additional questions that people might have. I don't know whether Luc will take over, explaining how the chat is going to work. But then, hope it has been of interest to you.
Great, thank you, Frank. I am sure that it was of interest to a lot of people already, because we did get some feedback and some questions, which also showed there has been some interest. So we're going over to before I'd like to make available a couple of questions to the audience. So we'd like to know from everybody, whether you're live or watching the recording, again, you can all participate. And if you're thinking about joining this program, when would you like to start? Make the selection of your choice. There is a January option, as you can see, 2021, September 2021, or if you're not sure yet, go ahead and select the choice of your preference. Thank you. And hit submit at the right. Okay, great, thank you. Next question, and almost the last one already. Are you considering to apply? Again, you might be just browsing around, you might be interested, not sure yet. Maybe you're considering already to apply. Let us know. Also, it's good for the university to know if you're doing that, because they can help you, as mentioned already in the presentation as well. So pick the preference there, please. Go ahead for all of you, again, live or recorded. I'll leave it 5 more seconds, as I see some people are still answering it. Great. Perfect. Okay. Last question of today is just to know if this session makes you more interested in this program. Was it useful? Did this help you get more information about the program, about Tio University? Did it make you more interested? Yes, no, or somewhat. I'll leave that open for a little bit, so you can answer that. And meanwhile, I'll go over to some of the questions of the audience. So we have received some questions. First of all, Yusuf had a question, and he's asking, well, you mentioned different campuses. What is better, the Utrecht campus or Amsterdam? And maybe some comparison idea, if that's possible to answer that briefly, between the two. Could you, Frank or Sophie, say something about this?
It's always dangerous to have to compare cities, but now it's about
neutral
campuses.
As possible. Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Okay. I can say a little bit about Utrecht, and Utrecht is really in the downtown area of the city. It's a great place, but like most important thing is the facilities at Tio are superb. And it counts for Amsterdam, Rotterdam, Utrecht, irrespective of the city. We really invest a lot of time and money as well to have great facilities. I like the statements like on Corona, we got the message on Sunday, for instance. Tomorrow we're going to go online, and everybody knew it's going to be perfect because we have been online in training sessions, in exam trainings, or whatever. So we knew that from the first second, multiple, well, tens or hundreds of consecutive sessions were organized online without any problem. From day one that Tio switched, and it's irrespective of Amsterdam, Rotterdam, or Utrecht, or whatever kind of city Tio is in. So then it's a personal thing. Please come over, have Sophie drag you around Amsterdam, maybe me drag you around Utrecht. Great places to be. Sophie? Can you add?
Yeah, so I agree to what Frank is saying. Of course, it is. I would be a bit biased when it comes to this question, as I am a student at the Amsterdam campus. But I think the biggest difference in this term is indeed, well, the size of the campus. Utrecht is a bit smaller. What I hear from international students is they always find it cozy and homely, which I do agree with. And Amsterdam is, it's the biggest campus that we have. So it has, it has all the facilities Utrecht has as well. But yeah, of course, it is in the bustling city of Amsterdam. And if you would love to study in our capital, then the Amsterdam campus is the way to go. So it's really up to you what you like the most, the bustling capital or the student city. Both are very nice. But yeah, if you really wish to one day, then we can both drag you around and try to convince you to study at either the Amsterdam or the Utrecht campus.
Thank you both. I know it's difficult to answer that without bias, but I think that was giving some good insights. And again, do check out the website as well. There's more information about the locations as well. So you can see a bit more about the ins and outs of each location. Even on social media, you might find some more. Now, going to the next question, Beatriza, she's asking, and I know some of you before the webinar, some of you that registered asked this as well, if the university gives scholarships to international students. Could you say something about that?
Yeah, I can refer to the slide where we stated the super talent and the talented one. So we have two typical scholarships, if that's mentioned, if that's meant. The 10,000 euro one for one application, or the 5,000 euro one for the talent application. I think that helps quite a lot. And there's I don't know exactly whether you can find a lot more on the internet, but please send an email. I think that's the best one, and you'll get information about how to apply for these scholarships. So send an email to the international office at Tio, and you'll get all the information for sure.
Good, and I'd like to add to that, for those people that already asked that question when they registered, all those questions are taken and registered. They are being sent to the university. So in that case, you might send another email, but maybe that is not actually necessary in that sense that we have already captured your question, and they will be sent to the appropriate people within Tio University if you already asked that, just to highlight that. But thank you for your answer, Frank. Now, a little bit about the starting date. So there's also a deadline for January, and there's a person in the audience asking, what is the deadline to apply for the January start? When exactly is that?
Yes, so if you are planning on starting in January as a non-EU student, the deadline is November 1st, and this is because everything needs to be taken care of, so think of visa, think of housing, etc. If you are an EU student, on the other hand, you can still apply one day before the start of the semester, so that's the 31st of December. If you're still able to fly in or to drive into the Netherlands and to find housing that fast, it is still possible. So it's a lot easier for EU students than for non-EU students. But if you really want to start in January, it is best also to get into touch with the international office, and they will help you arrange everything needed to start in January.
Great, thank you, Sophie, for that. And linking to that question, actually we did receive a question also before the session from Sept, who's also joined live, I understand. And he's asking also the advantages and disadvantages of starting in January rather than in September. Can you say something about that? And besides that, he's wondering if there's like a prep semester alternative. So if they don't start now, if there's a prep semester or anything for starting in January.
Yeah, we don't have a prep semester. One of the interesting things about being able not to start in September is that it might be for whatever kind of reason your schedule or your itinerary is not facilitating the start in September. You can more or less postpone and start in January. A little bit of a similar thing like the thesis students, the graduation students. In some instances, you have organizations that state you can only start your thesis process either in September or in January. It's not the case. You can start your thesis process every day in the year at us. So we have multiple coaches that help you, and they're available just whenever on application or on admission, obviously. But we have two starting points in the September one. and the January one just to facilitate people who will not be able to start in September. Another interesting thing about, for instance, what we did last summer due to COVID, a lot of students who could not go on internships, is we implemented right away a semester where the minors that were usually taken somewhere in either September onward or January onward, we converted some of the lessons that we were supposed to, or the minor processes that we were supposed to organize during the regular semesters, and we converted it to a summer semester of minors. So yeah, we have a lot of flexibility, and with the flexibility also comes to start in either September or January.
Thank you, Frank. I hope that answered your question, and otherwise do let us know. A little bit linked to that, you mentioned the situation currently. It's a bit different than usual, obviously, for all of us. And there was a question prior to this webinar as well asked about the possibility of obtaining a visa and traveling at the moment. This was asked specifically by Elina, but it probably, it's affecting a lot of students. Is there anything you can say maybe about the visa process, the current situation of traveling to the Netherlands, just about, from people who are wondering to start now or in January?
Yeah, I think that traveling to and from the Netherlands nowadays, we're really depending on what our governmental policy is. Fortunately, we have some websites that we can guide our international students to find out how anything that's laid out by the government is also stated in English. But it really depends on where you come from and where you are at in the Netherlands. And for sure, we have to follow all these guidelines, and we follow all these guidelines very strictly. So if it's really related to the COVID-19 situation, then we can't do much more than follow what the government is demanding us to do. And on visa procedures, we fully support the visa application. So you won't get here without a visa. You will only get here with a visa, and that's all incorporated in the 6 steps visa process that we do. And there's a mandatory admission, mandatory package fee. And why do we do so? That you don't have to be bothered by the visa thing, by the housing thing. It's all be taken care of in the first year. Maybe you want to switch, so we're not going to force you to take a package for multiple years. No, but for the first year, we take we take care of your administrative things, your visa things, your housing needs. So visa is with that stated all covered.
Okay, thank you. Talking a bit about the application criteria, there's a question related to that from Mohamed, who joined us live, and he's wondering about the TOEFL score. Is there a TOEFL score? So this is the English test. Obviously, the program is in English. So is there something that you can say about that and the necessary TOEFL score?
Sophia, I know about IELTS, English proficiency. I think the best thing to do on this one is to send an email to the international office. I think they really know what levels. I don't know it by heart, obviously. I know that we have admission things. We give lessons in English, but maybe Sophie.
And Frank, I can add to that in terms of the TOEFL score. These must be between the 75 and the 80 points. So that is the score required to start at Tio. And for IELTS, we have a minimum of 6. So those are the English proficiency levels. So that is a minimum level of B2.
Okay,
perfect. Thank you. That is very clear. So hopefully that helps a lot of people that are watching and are wondering about that as well. We're going to one of the last questions. There's more questions, as mentioned, that came to us before. We will come back to those, and the university will be answering that. But there's a question as well from the audience member, like to know the average age of the student. So just to get an idea about that as well, what is the average age of the students? Can you say something about that?
Yeah, sure. I think that's I think that's a good question. I think the average age of the students at Tio, from my experience, is roughly between the 18 and the 25 years old. And of course, this really depends. If I look at myself, when I started studying at Tio, I was 20 and turning 21 soon. And my sister, she also did Tio, and she started at the age of 18. So there is a big difference when it comes to the starting age. And also it really depends on how much time you need to complete your study program. So somewhere between 18 and 25 will be the average age.
Perfect. Great. Thank you. I think that's very clear. And with that, we will slowly round off the session. As mentioned, there were still some questions asked before, but they will be sent through to the university. So we will be dealing with that. We're rounding off this session for today. Thank you all for joining, the live audience and the people who are watching this recorded later on demand, of course, as well. Thank you for your interest. We hope this was useful to you. And of course, I'd like to thank the two great speakers we had, Sophie, Frank, both of your time and your availability today. And with that, I'd like to give the last words maybe to Frank to close off the session to the audience and from my side. Bye-bye.
Yeah, okay. First of all, thanks, Luc, and thanks, Sophie. And I'd really like to get the challenge to get to know all of you and get to know all your names by heart, which is always, for every single semester, my biggest challenge. And I really look forward to something like this one. And please don't hesitate, send in any questions you have to the international office, and they'll be guided to the people that can directly answer these questions and as soon as possible. So I hope you enjoyed it, and looking forward to meeting you all here, either in Utrecht or Amsterdam or any other place of Tio. Thank you.